Hello, Senior. Lesson 26. Let's check your words. Phrasal verbs look, get.
Look forward to.
Look forward to. Ανυπομονώ.
Look around.
Look around. Ρίχνω μια ματιά τριγύρω.
Look up.
Look up. Ψάχνω στο λεξικό.
Look out.
Look out. Προσέχω.
Get round somebody.
Get round somebody. Πείθω κάποιον.
Get away from.
Get away from. Ξεφεύγω από.
Get around.
Get around. Κυκλοφορώ, μετακινούμε.
Advice.
Advice. Συμβουλή, συμβουλές. Η λέξη advice είναι uncountable.
Suggestion.
Suggestion. Πρόταση.
Gadget.
Gadget. Μικροσυσκευή.
Authentic.
Authentic. Αυθεντικός.
Taste.
Taste. Γεύση, γεύομαι.
Phrasebook.
Phrasebook. Βιβλιαράκι με φράσεις.
Communication.
Communication. Επικοινωνία.
Blossom.
Blossom. Άνθηση, ανθίζω.
Public transport.
Public transport. Δημόσια συγκοινωνία.
Countryside.
Countryside. Εξοχή, ύπαιθρος.
Volcano.
Volcano. Ηφαίστειο.
Participate in.
Participate in. Συμμετέχω σε.
Cheat.
Cheat. Αντιγράφω σε τεστ.
Unfair.
Unfair. Άδικος.
Give up.
Give up. Παρατάω.
Patient.
Patient. Υπομονετικός, αλλά και ο ασθενής.
Revise.
Revise. Κάνω επανάληψη.
Material.
Material. Ύλη.
Hi there.
Hi there. Γεια σου, γεια σας.
2-week trip.
2-week trip. Ταξίδι 2 εβδομάδων.
Go crazy.
Go crazy. Τρελαίνομαι.
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji. Όρος Fuji.
Turn yellow. Turn red.
Turn yellow. Γίνομαι κίτρινος. Turn red. Γίνομαι κόκκινος. Now, let's check your grammar. Second conditional. Ο δεύτερος υποθετικός λόγος. Ο type 2. Τον χρησιμοποιούμε για να μιλήσουμε για κάτι που είναι απίθανο να συμβεί στο παρόν ή στο μέλλον, αλλά και για να δώσουμε συμβουλή με τη φράση If I were you. If I had a bike, I would cycle to school every day. Αν είχα ποδήλατο, θα πήγαινα με αυτό στο σχολείο κάθε μέρα. Δεν έχω όμως ποδήλατο, οπότε δεν πηγαίνω με αυτό στο σχολείο. If I were you, I would apply for this job. Αν ήμουν στη θέση σου, θα έκανα αίτηση για αυτή τη δουλειά. Στην υπόθεση, στην if clause, χρησιμοποιούμε σε όλα τα πρόσωπα το were αντί για το was. Ακόμα δηλαδή και στο I, στο he, she, χρησιμοποιούμε were αντί για was. Πώς σχηματίζει το second type? If και past simple, απόδοση would και bare infinitive. If we had the skills, we would participate in the competition. Στους υποθετικούς λόγους, η σειρά της υπόθεσης μπορεί να αντιστραφεί. Αν όμως μπει πρώτα η main clause και μετά η if clause, δεν θα βάλω κόμμα. So, go to your course book, page 66. Listen and read the travel forum Daniel is visiting on the internet.
Lesson 26. I love Japan.
Frank 15, the 21st of March. Hi there. My parents are organizing a 2-week trip to Tokyo for our family sometime this year. I'm really looking forward to it, but I have no idea what we can see and do there. Have you got any suggestions?
Daniel, UK 14, the 21st of March. Hello, Frank 15. I love Japan, and I've read so much about it. So if I ever travel to Tokyo, I would visit Akihabara. It's an area in the center of the city where you can look around huge shops decorated with impressive LED signs and find all kinds of electronic gadgets and video games. I'd go crazy if I saw so much electronic stuff. See if you can get round your parents to let you spend a whole day there.
Anne 08, the 22nd of March. One thing you must definitely do in Tokyo is try sushi, the most popular traditional Japanese dish in the world. Of course, now you can find sushi almost everywhere, but in Japan you will experience its authentic taste. And by the way, you should also buy a phrasebook to look up words you don't know, as you may have communication problems.
Lucy, USA, the 23rd of March. I think you should visit Japan in spring, because during this season it's absolutely amazing. You see, every year, usually in April, Japanese people celebrate Hanami, a traditional Japanese custom, and everyone enjoys the blossom on cherry trees all around the country. Even in the big cities, people go out in the parks and have picnics under the beautiful trees.
Kate JP, the 24th of March. Hi, I live in Tokyo, but I like to get away from the city as often as I can. So, if I were you, I wouldn't spend 2 weeks only in the city. The Japanese public transport network is great, and it's very easy to get around if you want to see some places in the countryside. One of my favorites is Mount Fuji, the highest volcano in Japan. The area around it is very beautiful, especially in autumn, when you can see all the leaves turning yellow or red. I hope you'll have a great time.
Frank 15, the 24th of March. Thank you, guys. It looks like Japan is beautiful all year round. With so many things to do, I don't think 2 weeks will be enough.
Okay, let's read now. Hi there, my parents are organizing a 2-week trip to Tokyo for our family sometime this year. Γεια σας, οι γονείς μου διοργανώνουν ένα ταξίδι 2 εβδομάδων στο Τόκιο για την οικογένειά μας κάποια στιγμή φέτος. I'm really looking forward to it, but I have no idea what we can see and do there. Πραγματικά ανυπομονώ, αλλά δεν έχω ιδέα τι μπορούμε να κάνουμε ή να δούμε εκεί. Have you got any suggestions? Έχετε καμιά πρόταση? Hello Frank 15, I love Japan and I've read so much about it. Αγαπώ την Ιαπωνία και έχω διαβάσει τόσα για αυτήν. So if I ever travel to Tokyo, I would visit Akihabara. Αν λοιπόν ταξίδευα στο Τόκιο, θα επισκεπτόμουν το Akihabara. It's an area in the center of the city where you can look around huge shops decorated with impressive LED signs and find all kinds of electronic gadgets and video games. Είναι μια περιοχή στο κέντρο της πόλης, όπου μπορείς να κοιτάξεις τριγύρω με τεράστια μαγαζιά, διακοσμημένα με εντυπωσιακές LED πινακίδες και να βρεις όλων των ειδών τις ηλεκτρονικές μικροσυσκευές και video games. I'd do crazy if I say so. If I saw so much electronic stuff, θα τρελαινόμουν αν έβλεπα τόσα πολλά ηλεκτρονικά πράγματα. See if you can get around your parents to let you spend a whole day there. Δες μήπως πείσεις τους γονείς σου να σε αφήσουν να περάσεις μια ολόκληρη μέρα εκεί. One thing you must definitely do in Tokyo is try sushi, the most popular traditional Japanese dish in the world. Ένα πράγμα που πρέπει οπωσδήποτε να κάνεις στο Τόκιο είναι να δοκιμάσεις το σούσι, το πιο διάσημο παραδοσιακό ιαπωνέζικο πιάτο στον κόσμο. Of course, now you can find sushi almost everywhere, but in Japan you will experience its authentic taste. Φυσικά τώρα μπορείς να βρεις το σούσι παντού, αλλά στην Ιαπωνία θα γευτείς την πραγματική γεύση. And by the way, you should also buy a phrasebook to look up words you don't know, as you may have communication problems. Και παρεπιπτόντως θα πρέπει να ψάξεις και ένα λεξικό με φρασούλες για να ψάχνεις λέξεις που δεν γνωρίζεις, γιατί μπορεί να αντιμετωπίσεις προβλήματα επικοινωνίας. I think you should visit Japan in spring because during the season it's absolutely amazing. Πιστεύω ότι πρέπει να επισκεφθείς την Ιαπωνία την Άνοιξη, επειδή κατά τη διάρκεια αυτής της περίοδου είναι απολύτως μαγευτικά. You see every year, usually in April, Japanese people celebrate Hanami, a traditional Japanese custom, and everyone enjoys the blossom on cherry trees all around the country. Βλέπεις κάθε χρόνο, συνήθως τον Απρίλιο, οι Ιαπωνέζοι γιορτάζουν το Hanami, ένα παραδοσιακό ιαπωνέζικο έθιμο και όλοι απολαμβάνουν την άνθηση σε κερασιές σε όλη τη χώρα. Even in the big cities, people go out in the parks and have picnics under the beautiful trees. Ακόμα και σε μεγαλοπόλεις, οι άνθρωποι βγαίνουν στα πάρκα και κάνουν πικνίκ κάτω από όμορφα δέντρα. Hi, I live in Tokyo, but I like to get away from the city as often as I can. Ζω στο Τόκιο, αλλά θα ήθελα να φεύγω από την πόλη όσο συχνά μπορώ. So if I were you, I wouldn't spend 2 weeks only in the city. Οπότε αν ήμουν στη θέση σου, δεν θα ξόδευα και τις 2 εβδομάδες στην πόλη. The Japanese public transport network is great and it's very easy to get around if you want to see some places in the countryside. Το Ιαπωνέζικο δίκτυο συγκοινωνίας είναι εξαιρετικό, οπότε μπορείς εύκολα να περιηγηθείς και να πας και σε μέρη στην εξοχή. One of my favorites is Mount Fuji, the highest volcano in Japan. Ένα από τα αγαπημένα μου είναι το όρος Fuji, το πιο υψηλό ηφαίστειο στην Ιαπωνία. The area around it is very beautiful. Η περιοχή τριγύρω είναι πολύ όμορφη, especially in autumn, ειδικά το φθινόπωρο, when you can see all the leaves turning yellow or red. Όπου μπορείς να δεις όλα τα φύλλα να γίνονται κίτρινα ή κόκκινα. I hope you have a great time. Εύχομαι να περάσει υπέροχα. Thank you guys. It looks like Japan is beautiful all year round. Ευχαριστώ παιδιά. Φαίνεται ότι η Ιαπωνία είναι όμορφη όλο το χρόνο. With so many things to do, I don't think 2 weeks will be enough. Με τόσα πράγματα να κάνω, πιστεύω ότι 2 εβδομάδες δεν θα είναι αρκετές. Okay, so, where is Frank 15 going? He's going on a 2-week trip to Tokyo with his family. And why does he need suggestions? Because he has no idea what he can see or do there. Nice. Has Daniel visited Tokyo? No, he hasn't. He has read so much about it though. And what would he do? He would visit Akihabara. And what is Akihabara? It's an area in the in the center of the city with huge shops decorated with impressive LED signs. And what can you find in that shops? You can find electronic gadgets. And why should he try sushi? Since sushi is almost everywhere, why should he try sushi according to Anno 8? Because he will experience the authentic taste. And why should he buy Facebook? Since he doesn't know any Japanese, he may have communication problems. Nice. And according to Lucy USA, why should he visit Japan during spring? Because at that time of the year, in April, people celebrate Hanami, where they go out and they enjoy the blossom on cherry trees all around the country. And what about Kate JP? She lives in Tokyo. What does she suggest? She suggests visiting places in the countryside like Mount Fuji, the highest volcano in Japan. And when is this area beautiful? It's all year round, but especially in autumn because the leaves turn yellow or red. Nice. Exercise 2. What kind of suggestions does Frank 15 ask for in the forum? He asks about what he can see and do in Tokyo. What can shoppers buy at Akihabara? They can buy all kinds of electronic gadgets and video games. Why might Frank 15 need a Facebook? Because he may have communication problems. What do people who live in big Japanese cities do to celebrate Hanami? They go out in the parks and have picnics under the beautiful trees. Which is the highest volcano in Japan? It's Mount Fuji. True or false? Frank 15 is going to visit Tokyo in the autumn. Not given. Δεν μας το αναφέρει. Όταν κάτι δεν μας το λέει, not given, NG. It's difficult to find sushi in countries apart from Japan. False. Hanami takes place in the spring. True. Lucy USA has been to Tokyo. Not given. Δεν μας το λέει. Tourists can travel around Japan very easily. True. You can reach Mount Fuji using public means of transport. True. What does the phrase one of my favorites refer to? Πού αναφέρεται? Places in the countryside. Which of these things would you like to do in Japan? For example, I would celebrate Hanami because I would like to participate in a traditional Japanese custom. What about you? Nice. Listen to a dialogue between a boy and a girl. What's the boy's problem?
7a. Listen to a dialogue between a boy and a girl. What's the boy's problem? Circle A, B, or C.
Hi, Patrick. You look upset. Is everything okay?
Hi, Jessica. Actually, no, it isn't. I have a problem, and I need your advice.
What's wrong?
Well, I finally got round my parents to let me start learning Japanese.
Japanese? Why do you want to do that? I mean, it isn't the most common language to learn.
I know, but I like Japanese manga, and I love the country's culture.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Well, in the end, it seems learning Japanese isn't easy at all. The Japanese writing system is very difficult. Also, I can't remember all the vocabulary, and I have to study so hard. Now, I'm thinking about giving it up. What should I do?
Okay, what is his problem? It's B. He finds it hard to learn Japanese. Now, listen to the rest of the dialogue and take the advice the girl gives the boy. Πάμε λοιπόν να ακούσουμε το υπόλοιπο, την απάντηση του κοριτσιού και να βάλουμε τικ στις συμβουλές που του δίνει.
7b. Now, listen to the rest of the dialogue and tick the advice the girl gives to the boy.
I see. Okay, first of all, since you are so interested in Japan, you shouldn't give up. Learning a language takes a lot of time, especially Japanese, which is totally different from English. So you have to be patient.
Yes, I agree. But what can I do?
If I were you, I would try to find ways to remember words more easily. For example, you could use bright colors to write down the vocabulary that is difficult to remember and put the lists on your board.
I guess that would be helpful.
Also, since it's difficult to find Japanese people to chat to in our city, you can make Japanese friends online or follow Japanese bloggers.
Yeah, I could do that too.
And remember, you can always ask your teacher to help you more or give you tips.
Yes, you're right. Thanks for the advice, Jessica.
Okay. 2, 3 and 6. He should be patient, να είναι υπομονετικός. He should use lists to remember vocabulary, να χρησιμοποιεί λίστες λέξεων για να θυμάται το λεξιλόγιο. He should use the internet, να χρησιμοποιεί το ίντερνετ. Now, English sounds. What is the sound of OW? Listen.
8. Listen and repeat. What is the sound of OW?
Throw. Below. Pillow. Show. Allow. Down. Towel. Shower.
Στην πρώτη στήλη είναι O. Στη δεύτερη OW. Allow. Down. Now, open your activity book, go to page 152 and look at the pictures, fill in with the phrasal verbs. 1. Let's look around the shop to find the jeans we want. Look out, don't cross the street. Liza was able to get round her parents to adopt a puppy. The thief won't get away from the police. we can look up the words we don't know in this book. I usually get around by bus. Fill in the missing letters. Advice, suggestion, authentic, communication, participate, cheat, unfair, patient, revise. What does this German phrase mean? Let's look it up in this phrase book. Melvin hasn't got a car. He uses public means of transport to get around. Να μετακινηθεί. My favorite cousins are flying here next month. I'm looking forward to seeing them. Look out, there's a big dog behind you. In the end, I couldn't get round my father to let me go out tonight. Δεν μπόρεσα να τον πείσω. The Edison spent the whole afternoon looking around the city. There were numerous tourist attractions to visit. We want to get away from our everyday routine, so we have arranged a 2-week trip. Neil got really upset when the teacher caught him cheating in the exams. You will taste authentic Chinese food at that restaurant. Wendy made good suggestions for some new company rules at the meeting yesterday. There's no public transport in our village, so we go everywhere by car. Be quiet, please. I have to revise for my science test tomorrow. Mount Etna is the highest volcano in Europe. Its name in English means I burn. Cindy needs a break from work immediately, otherwise she'll go crazy. The patient is waiting for you in the waiting room, doctor. My advice to you is to spend less time on your computer. Okay, I haven't spoken to Larry lately. I have had no communication with Larry lately. We're going to take part in our school play. We're going to participate in our school play. Mrs. Bradford's decision wasn't right. Mrs. Bradford's decision was unfair. Don't stop trying and you'll definitely succeed. Don't give up and you'll definitely succeed. Professor Bailey doesn't get angry with his students easily. Professor Bailey is very patient with his students. All the trees in our garden have flowers in spring. All the trees in our garden are in blossom in spring. When Marvin told Pat how beautiful she was, her face became red. When Marvin told Pat how beautiful she was, her face turned red. Grammar exercises now. Remember, second conditional, if και past simple, απόδοση would και bare infinitive. If I found a wallet, I would take it to the police. Number 2. If Christina had the chance, she would build a house in the countryside. Εάν είχε την ευκαιρία, θα έφτιαχνε ένα σπίτι στην εξοχή. Number 3. If you slept more at night, you wouldn't be so tired. Εάν κοιμώσουν πιο πολύ το βράδυ, δεν θα ήσουν τόσο κουρασμένος. This tablet wouldn't be so expensive if If this tablet wasn't so expensive, Mr. Rogers would buy it. Αν το tablet αυτό δεν ήταν τόσο ακριβό, ο Mr. Rogers θα το αγόραζε. Να θυμίσω ότι γενικά στο second type, αντί για wasn't, μπορούμε να βάλουμε weren't, το προτιμάμε κιόλας, σε όλα τα πρόσωπα. Number 5. If we didn't like Judy, we wouldn't hang out with her. Εάν δεν συμπαθούσαμε τη Judy, δεν θα κάναμε παρέα μαζί της. Now, fill in with the second type. If Rebecca bought a car, she would sell her motorbike. If I were rich, I would donate some of my money to people in need. Your dad wouldn't complain all the time if you behaved more responsibly. If it didn't rain so much, we would enjoy living in London. If Carrie woke up earlier in the morning, she wouldn't be late for school. Jack would meet his friends more often if they lived in the same neighborhood. I wouldn't talk to you again if you did something bad to me. Look at the pictures and give advice using the second type and the phrases from the box. Πώς δίνουμε συμβουλές? If I were you. If I were you, I wouldn't get out of bed. Number 2. If I were you, I wouldn't swim in the sea. Number 3. If I were you, I would eat more healthily. Number 4. If I were you, I would call an expert. If I were you, I wouldn't go on a picnic. Now, people would recycle more if they really cared about the environment. Θα ανακύκλωναν περισσότερο αν ενδιαφερόντουσαν για το περιβάλλον. Nowadays, people don't care about the environment. If P didn't understand the problem, he would ask his teacher to help him. Αν δεν το καταλάβαινε, θα ζητούσε από τη δασκάλα του να τον βοηθήσει. Pete has understood the problem. Το έχει καταλάβει. If my headache doesn't get better, I will drink a cup of tea. Εάν ο πονοκέφαλός μου δεν περάσει, θα πιω μια κούπα τσάι. Perhaps I will drink a cup of tea. Ίσως να πιω. If I were you, I would follow my mother's advice. Αν ήμουν στη θέση σου, θα ακολουθούσα τη συμβουλή της μαμάς μου. You should follow your mother's advice. Unless you hated spicy food, we would visit the new Mexican restaurant. Αν δεν συχαινώσουν το πικάντικο φαγητό, θα επισκεπτόμασταν το καινούργιο μεξικάνικο εστιατόριο. We won't visit the new Mexican restaurant as you hate spicy food. Perfect. Let's watch your grammar video, please.
Lesson 26. Grammar video. Second conditional.
Form. If plus past simple. Would plus bare infinitive.
Use.
If we had eggs, we would make an omelette.
If I were you, I wouldn't climb up there.
What would happen if? People often tell us that we must save the bees, protect the glaciers, or save water. But have you ever thought about what would happen in the world if we didn't do so? Prepare yourselves to find out.
What would happen if all the bees around the world died? The role of bees is important for life on Earth because their work allows new plants to grow. Sadly, the number of bees around the world is becoming smaller and smaller. But if there weren't any bees, lots of plants would die, and then lots of animals would lose their food. What's more, if we lived in a world without bees, many fruit and vegetables that we eat wouldn't be able to grow. As a result, we would also lose an important part of our diet. What would happen if all the glaciers melted? Everyone knows that the polar ice is melting, but what if all the ice on Earth melted? If that happened, sea levels would go up around 60 meters. The ocean would cover all the towns and cities built along coasts, and lots of places would disappear underwater. According to scientists, countries like England would have more rain, while winter in North America would be colder and more snowy. And what about wildlife? Unfortunately, if all the Arctic ice melted, lots of species, like polar bears and seals, would need to find another place to live, otherwise they wouldn't survive. What would happen if we didn't have any water to drink? Almost everything in our body, from our heart and brain to our bones and hair, needs water to work well. Actually, the human body is about 65% water, but since we lose 2 to 3 liters every day, we have to get it back.
So you see, if we didn't drink water, we wouldn't have enough energy to move or even think. We would feel ill and we would finally die. That's why it's important to save our fresh water and make sure that we drink enough of it. It's not hard to do. If I were you, I would take shorter showers and turn off the tap when I finish.
What about you? Do you know what would happen if some other things on Earth were totally different?
Think about it. Okay, goodbye, Senior. See you next time.